Dee, you have the ability to make some of the most wild sounds that have ever come out of a human before. Yeah.
It's fun to make sounds.
It is fun to make sounds. I mean, Nick, it's on demand. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Jay, Dee, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today on the Movie Podcast. We had the pleasure of diving into this game for the first time today, and it's one that we've been looking forward to for a long time. So it was hard for us to, be pulled away from it to come down, but we're happy.
Did you play?
We played for about 90 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we played around, we wandered around a lot, but we wanted more. So it's going to be a bit of a harder way to get back into it. But I just, right off the top, I just love to know what made both of you fall in love with Star Wars. And I know, Dee, you're no stranger to this world. So what made you guys both fall in love with Star Wars?
Well, that's a great question. It started for me with the feature film, of course. Although I read George Lucas's novelization of the feature film first.
Oh, wow.
Because that came out and I knew it was coming, and I just, anything that I could get back before the internet, to see what this thing was, I wanted to get. But it's hard to describe to someone now, a young person today, what that's like to see something that comes out of nowhere that's not like anything that you've ever seen, that plops onto the screen in this fully realized world with an utterly original idea, with a really bold and audacious take in a fun, awesome space adventure story. And there was nothing about it for me that was like, oh, I've seen this before, or I know this actor. I knew Peter Cushing. That's all I knew. Nobody else. There were no other stars drawing me in that I knew as a kid. It was just to see this amazing, fantastical world, and that was it. I was done. I was fully on board with Star Wars, and I've been riding on that spaceship for about 4 decades or whatever, however long it's been.
And for me, I had no reference point. So, I mean, by the time that I was aware, and I'm playing with toys, and we had laser discs of Star Wars. I had, the Millennium Falcon flying around the room. I had the underwear. It's everywhere. And so as a child, it was foundational, part of your imagination and how you becoming an actor and wanting to be, a part of something as big as Star Wars. That was as big as it got.
Right.
But like I said, that I suppose is my reference point to anything that's a fantastical journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So falling in love with Star Wars was that was a given.
Yeah, and it's interesting with your character too, with ND-5. Like, we don't know much. Like, we've never seen them before in this world, and that's what's so fun about what these games could do is like explore characters that we've never seen before. So what can you reveal to us about where they're coming from in this world, and maybe a little bit of who they are and your approach to wanting to play like a droid like that?
Well, so, I mean, he's a BX Commando droid, BX series Commando droid from the Clone Wars. So by the time that you meet him, he is a relic of a different era. And at this point, he's, repurposed to and tasked to go along a mission with Kay Vess to make sure that everything happens according to plan and that she doesn't the mission doesn't go off the rails. Where he's different is he has style, as we've said before, as Dia said perfectly. When you see his brooding nature with that trench coat, that duster blowing in the wind, it kind of gives you that Western vibe. It's an incredible image, and his persona, being a veteran of the Clone War, carrying that burden on his shoulders, and he wears his emotions on his sleeve. It's a pretty unique take from my perspective as far as droids are concerned, and there's a lot of humanity in that, and I think that would be a great place to start with who ND-5 is.
As you know, like in the first Star Wars movie, because we don't serve their kind here, right? There's a whole prejudice against droids, and so there's a lot, and then you're also not part of this, the old structure that you were created for. You're now more of a free agent in a different context. So it's very interesting to me that you've got this droid that also has selected some clothing that may have practical aspects to it, but may have a stylish element too, to assert personality.
Yeah.
In a way that's similar to like what the clones do with like modding their hair and getting tattoo and facial hair and all of that to express that I am not just
Individuality.
I'm an individual. Yeah.
It's cool. And I again, we saw such a little sliver today, and that's why we're so excited to see where this world is going to go, where the story is going to go. Dee, you have the ability to make some of the most wild sounds that have ever come out of a human before. Yeah.
It's fun to make sounds.
It is fun to make sounds. I mean, Nick, it's on demand. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Nick's was somebody that I fell in love with playing. We all fell in love with playing because anytime we had the opportunity to, stick stigma on someone to attack, it was just like, go get it. It's just so fun. And I love that they get the time to shine to do that.
I'm glad you like it, because I'm hearing this a lot now, that the fella that just talked to us, he just liked to send it to go do things.
Yeah.
Just wherever he's at, just go do that. And he goes and does it. He's ready to serve right there.
Yeah, it's so fun. And I just when you're approaching a character like this, again, a character that we've never seen in Star Wars lore, these creatures, where do you go to find the sounds? Because you feel you could do any sound. So like what are you looking for when you see a character? Like do you get like a concept art first and like, this character looks like they'll sound like this?
Right. So creating the sounds for the performance start with the visuals. And then because of the way that they've done the production is they've already shot the mocap, and the mocap was done with a little Muppet, a little puppety puppet, puppet that we've actually got it here.
Oh, wow.
And so that the interaction between Kay and her little creature familiar was already established and then animated. So it's there. So what needs to happen is already captured visually. And so then they can show that to me, and I can say, okay, I can see that. I can see what their relationship is. I've got the script of what she's saying, and he clearly understands it, and she understands him. And then there's also the aspect of what the gameplay is, which a lot of it is stealth and quiet. And so you got to kind of keep it low and unremarkable, so that no one's turning their head saying, "What's that sound?" It's
Right.
just one more little thing happening with all this other stuff. So it's got to be, so all of these things you bring in to kind of triangulate what the creature needs to be to feel like just another character in the story.
Right. And thank you so much for retrieving so many like useful items for me while playing today too. It was very helpful.
Good. That's what Nix wants, is to be helpful.
I was wondering if both of you could talk about maybe how you meet Kay on each of their journeys in this game. Again, I know you can't get into too many of the spoilers, but what was it like, for your characters trying to figure out that relationship with Kay and with Umberly to, figure out who your characters were?
See, I'm not sure if I can reveal how you meet Nix, how she meets him.
No worries.
I'm not sure what I can reveal about that.
It's just a lot that you can say. I know.
I'll take this one. But yes, for ND-5, as I said before, he's obviously been tasked because, Kay Vess has gotten herself in over her head so that she has to go on a mission to achieve this goal. And ND-5 is a watchdog and kind of a babysitter. So in the beginning, he's somewhat reluctant and not happy to be there. So the relationship in the beginning, that's the starting point between those two. And then with Nix as well, everything is just going to be, it's all very, very new to him and very curious. And he's intrigued by this duo that choose to live life the way that they do. But that's how he's first introduced.
Okay. I know there's so much that we could talk about. I want to be respectful of your time as well, but really quickly before we wrap up, I'd just love to know, what are you excited for most for players jumping in to fall in love with this game? What's that thing that you're like, this is what you're going to fall in love with while playing Star Wars Outlaws.
Well, hopefully the relationship that we built, that, like you said before, with Umberly as well, that the chemistry was immediate, and our relationship and the time that we had, filming for years, creating all of this, and then when you add in all of the brilliant artists that thousands of people that create this open world galaxy that you're going to dive into, being kind of a terminal and being Kay Vess and going on the journey with Kay Vess and Nix and ND-5, that's gonna be a quite personal one for you, in the game. But you can do anything you want, and in Empire Strikes Back, in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, we're all very familiar with what's happening,
right? And
so we know Tatooine. When you say Tatooine, we know it. But now, with all of its detail, you're going to get to explore it and make it even more personal. And I just can't wait to see what people think, because Star Wars it's even bigger now, the galaxy. So it's like we've gone full circle and we're right back to where it all started, but
right.
in a much broader way.
You're able to jump into a Star Wars movie now. And at a particular moment, that's one of the most interesting moments in all of Star Wars. And you're going to jump into it in this full rendered way that's open-ended and just play it how you want. What could be more exciting than that?
I love that. Both of you, thank you both again so much for your time. We cannot wait to get our hands on it for the full game so no one could take it away from us. But thank you again, and I hope that we could talk to both of you again. Thank you.
Thank you so much.